My name is Eileen Delehanty Pearkes, and I suppose I wrote The Glass Seed because I was having an experience with my mother in her process of dying of Alzheimer's disease that was different from the experiences I was hearing from a lot of people and from the culture around me. And I realized that there are many ways of looking at this illness, that it is a tragic illness with a great deal of suffering and difficulty for both those suffering from it and the families around them. But it's also an opportunity to come to know an individual before their death in a unique way. And approaching my mother with this open-heartedness, I discovered someone who I wasn't even sure had been there before. And I had a wonderful experience with her as she was dying, as well as feeling the struggle and the difficulty. So I wanted to write The Glass Seed to explore that, to share that experience, and to help our culture possibly see the uplifting qualities of the illness and the suffering. Learning to care for my mother as she has succumbed increasingly to Alzheimer's disease, even briefly during my very occasional visits from a long distance away, has been an experience of inestimable value. Sponging the soft skin on her back, holding a spoon to her mouth, stroking her cheek with love, these small acts, offered infrequently but always with the most presence I can muster, are teaching me how to nurture truly from the deepest and most loving aspect of my feminine being. These offerings allow me to bring the presence and care of my loved one to the center of my world. I recognize now an earlier reluctance in my life, and I am beginning to allow a quiet, receptive energy to bloom. I am reminded to take full responsibility for nurturing both the natural world I live in and the children I hoped to create. I am reminded to allow a quiet, receptive energy to bloom in my life. I am reminded to take full responsibility for nurturing both the natural world I live in and the children I helped to create. The feminine aspect of nature often manifests itself as a passive presence, the gentle unfolding of a blossom's petals, the malleable, adaptive flow of water over rocks, the cool, approachable light of the Earth's rotating satellite. Here is a gentleness and protection that allows potential to emerge in its own time, not to be stifled. No one can stare at the sun for even a moment, and yet the moon's safe and luminous light can be gazed at for hours. My mother, more and more a creature of the moon as her illness has progressed, offers me great feminine wisdom as she slowly departs from this world. In the opening of her defensive glass shell that Alzheimer's disease has brought about, in the final exposure of her vulnerability, in the unmasking of her well-practiced independence, efficiency, and self-sufficiency, I have found a priceless and healing gift. There can be a searing power in compliance, a vivid beauty in reflection, and a paradoxical warmth in light cast back twice from its source. The message from the wampum and from my mother's illness is a pure one, that we love ourselves and those who need us in this world, that we protect them as fiercely and yet as generously and compassionately as we can, with shells of great smoothness on the inside, with a nacre that surrounds closely while offering plenty of room to grow. That we begin our nurturing of others by taking care of who we really are as individuals, so that we can allow the light of the moon to radiate outwards into our troubled world. This, I have realized, is the mother of pearl.